Okay, so we've had quite a few comments asking for a more in-depth explanation of Bongo mode. If you haven't seen that video, then I recommend watching that before you watch this, but let's get into it. I think the thing to bear in mind here is that Bongo mode, as I've called it, is really just an answer to a problem that I personally had. I wanted to be able to play in a bongo rhythm with my hands, didn't have real bongos, so I made a custom mode instead. And custom modes are something that are available on pretty much every Novation MIDI controller. Basically, if you have something like a launch key, for example, you can make custom encoder modes, you can make custom fader modes on the models that have them. And on the launch pad, you can make up to 8 different custom pad modes. And the way to make custom modes is through an application called Components. So this is Components, and you can use this as an application on your computer, or you can use it in a web browser. And basically, Components is kind of the hub for all of your Novation products. You can update your products in here, and you can customize them depending on what you can do with that product. But as you can see, I've got my Launchpad plugged in. So if I click on Manage Launchpad, I'm presented with this screen. Now you can already see that there's a load of pre-made Novation custom modes that are available on Components, but I can just click here, create custom mode, and I'm given this empty grid, which looks like a Launchpad. So as you can see on the side here, I've got a ton of these custom mode widgets, and I can really just add whatever I want. So if I wanted to put a drum grid in, maybe let's say here, and then I wanted to put in like a keyboard down here, and maybe I want to put a horizontal fader here. I could rig this up to work with whatever setup I want, and you're starting to see there are some controls that you can get into, and you can choose MIDI channels, etc, etc. But for the bongo mode, I'll show you what I made. So for this custom mode that I made, I specifically referenced this Ableton instrument called Bongo A. And the reason why I use this is because it had a ton of different articulations for a bongo in it. It's got a low drum and a high drum. So I used the information of each sample. You can see in the bottom left corner of the screen, Bongo A low open 3F is a C1. And as I move through these, C sharp 1, etc, etc. And yeah, I basically just used these notes as a reference to how I was going to make my custom mode. And the good thing about Components is you can save your custom mode. So you can see here, I've got this bongo mode, and you might recognize the colors of the pads here reflect how the custom mode looks on the launch pad. And basically all I've done here is I've used the MIDI note widget, and I've created these 2 custom drum grids that reflect the notes in the Ableton instrument I just showed you. So this sort of 2x2 grid here is all a C1, which is the open sample. And then this is the C sharp 1, which is the other open sample. So depending on which side I hit, you get a slightly different sample. You've got these red pads down here, which is D1, which reflects the slap sample, I believe. So all of these different areas that you touch are going to make a different sound. And then I just did the same thing up here with the high samples. And I also tried to use the same sort of palette for each drum. So I kind of knew what I was hitting and what sound I was going to get out of it when I'm playing it. And that's it really. All I have to do then is press send to Launchpad when I'm happy with the custom mode. The Launchpad supports up to 8 different custom modes. I believe I put bongo mode on 8. And now if I want to access that custom mode, I just press the custom button, and we've got these 8 pads down the side here. If I press the 8th pad for custom mode 8, then you can see that the custom mode that we were working on in Components is now on this launch pad, and the colors are reflective of what we chose in the software. So yeah, that's custom modes. I hope this video has given you some insight on how I created my custom mode. I hope it also inspires you to maybe go out there and create your own custom modes which benefit your workflows or your live performance. Because with something like the Launchpad, as I said in the previous video, there really is no end to the opportunities you can create for yourself with one of these. And I'd love to hear in the comments if you have any ideas for any custom modes, if you've made any that have been really beneficial to you, or if there's anything that you think we should try and make, do let us know. And yeah, See you soon.